Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't heard what was announced the previous day, one of the greatest NBA players has recently retired. And of course, rest in peace is Jim Brown, NFL legend that passed recently, around this week. Carmelo Anthony has just recently already posted over his retirement video. Just around under 24 hours ago. And for a guy that's witnessed the majority of his career, it's a bit heartbreaking I didn't at least see him play a game that ended over his own terms. Because, majority of guys around my age have witnessed Carmelo Anthony's career when he was over on Denver, became a premier superstar. But at least guys around my area, especially over when he was a New York Knick, and his numerous scoring records, his play style that could be quietly emulated, but very difficult to stop. His numerous play style, and we know that he has had a plethora of shoes. He's already won the big. He's the ninth. He's the ninth leading scorer in NBA history. He already had a Hall of Fame career in two separate teams that he has near tenure with. He's in the top 75 in NBA players when it comes to the best player in NBA history. Oh, and he's an Olympic gold medalist. He's a 16-time All-Star. And became a scoring champion around the 2012-2013 season. That was one of the best New York Knicks seasons before this year, where they were a 53 win team. And he's already emulated over 1,200 career games, and averages over 22 points. And he wasn't even doing that bad over as a rotational player over his last season as a Los Angeles Laker, and when he was a Portland Trail Blazer. After he came back, when there was controversy around his contributions and how he would contribute, especially around his age. And I liked his little tribute over to his son, being like one that will live out his legacy. And imagine if it was later around the video that it was like, actually, Dad, I wanted to be a doctor. I didn't want to continue hooping. But Carmelo Anthony has really influenced a lot of the game, especially for over his play style. Would have been different if he won an NBA title around his career. Yeah, and sometimes that can't be controlled. But other than that, Melo, I think, has done quite enough to build over a reputation for himself, and I think a plethora of NBA players respect him at least around the level of a first ballot Hall of Famer for how he influenced the game. And over his play style, a lot of players around his NBA history has been well known that he's possibly one of the most difficult guys to guard, knowing that he's a 6'7" wing that can attack over to the rim and make his own shot nearly the exact same way until Kevin Durant made it to the NBA. Sure, it wasn't very well known for his offensive standard. Defensive ways with the ball like LeBron James and Dwayne Wade were around his draft class, but how he was and the swagger and how he done it, and how you can easily build teams around him whenever it came to the postseason. It was very difficult, especially when he was over the hump, when he lost in the Western Conference Final against the Los Angeles Lakers in the 2008 Western Conference Final, but had some good high-scoring performances. Every time he was in the Garden, when he had that game winner against Chicago, when he dominated against the Bobcats. Okay, everybody dominated against the Bobcats. Melo was just one of those times when he was on the Knicks, like when LeBron was on the Heat and he dropped like 60 and looked at Michael Jordan after just dunking on his own team. And over his his combined seasons, he's had at least a minimum high average scoring range. Sometimes wasn't consistent, but right around the range where he could score. And now knowing that he's gonna retire, it would have sucked because there was a lot of headlines knowing like he possibly was gonna end his season with the New York Knicks, but the Knicks became a playoff team around this time. And we forgot that he was also a national champion with the Syracuse Orange. And knowing that plethora of hype, knowing a lot of national champion players don't pan out around the high level league, and how he rebuilt his career after he burned some bridges over on the Oklahoma City Thunder and declined around the Houston Rockets that he would not get picked up again. Hopefully his son has a bright future ahead of him and can build over a level for himself. Because I would love to see if Carmelo's son could pan out, if Zaire Wade could pan out still if he trained hard enough. We know Bronny James is going to the University of USC over the fall, so hopefully he will get a good NFL career. If LeBron's not willing to try to still think he can contend at the age of 39 after getting blown out by the Denver Nuggets. I'll get a video on that soon. The game just already won. The game was already over. And to make sure that we don't end this over on a low note, because I don't like always hearing about my childhood players. Even though I had my jokes about Carmelo Anthony having that the only rings that he had was a Reading wing until he had a divorce. He was still one of the coolest players to like play with, especially on 2K. So it's not all love, because I obviously have friends of mine that are very inspired by Carmelo Anthony and really built over decades of some tenure of relevance for the New York Knicks, especially around their mediocre seasons. So to make sure we don't end this over at a low note, shout out my man Sonic the Hedgehog. The link is in the description for his video of a bit of a highlight reel. He has one over in the channel if you guys want to subscribe, of his career, of his highlight reel on the Denver Nuggets. This is personally off his time with the New York Knicks. Thanks for watching the TST Show. Like, comment, subscribe for more. Hopefully you guys have a good day. That's it for me.